Yeah, right. Yeah, right. So what's that? Like a ride out
It is a fine morning.
Fine morning. All right. Let us begin with our pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And our four-way test of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it help bad intentions? Officials of all concerned. All right, you guys are looking very, very good today. If you were a group of ferrets, you'd be a business. So you know.
I'm watching Terry's face.
The Brewers are 3-1. Yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Are three? Any of you see the bottom of the 8th inning on Sunday? You didn't?
It was awesome.
Yeah, it was really something. Anyway, and the Buffalo Bisons are 1-2. So in case you go to New York State, you want to know that. Things you probably don't need to know, and I'm going to tell you anyway. The original poem, Casey at the Bat, had a subtitle. The subtitle was A Ballad of the Republic, sung in the year 1888. I don't know what it has to do with the ballad, and as far as I know, it's never been sung. And but it was published in the San Francisco Examiner on June 3rd, 1888, under a pseudonym by a guy named Finn. Real name is Ernest Thayer, but he's published under Finn. We have a birthday today, Rex. Tomorrow?
Yes.
All right. Is this the first you've heard about it? Is this the first you've heard about it? Tends to come every year, but I realize yeah. Well, please stand up, and as long as Terry's there, he'll start us on the way.
Thanks for Rex.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Rex. Happy birthday to you.
Gotta wait to hear for that to happen again, Rex.
Well, courtesy reminder. Welcome to those online, glad to have you here. Well, speaking of baseball, it is indeed the beginning of the season and what time for annual Casey at the bats. The outlook wasn't brilliant for the Mudville Nine that day. The score stood 4-2 with but one inning more to play. And then when Cooney died first and Barrows did the same, a sickly silence fell upon the patrons of the game. A straggling few got up to go in deep despair. The rest clung to that hope which springs eternal in the human breast. They thought if only Casey could but get a whack at that, we'd put up even money now with Casey at the bat. But Flynn preceded Casey, as did also Jimmy Blake. The former was a Lulu and the latter was a cake. So upon that stricken multitude, grim melancholy sat, for there seemed but little chance of Casey's getting to the bats. But Flynn let drive a single to the wonderment of all, and Blake, the much despised, tore the cover off the ball. And when the dust had lifted and men saw what had occurred, there was Jimmy safe at second and Flynn a hugging third. Then from 5,000 throats and more there rose a lusty yell. It rumbled through the valley, it rattled in the dell. It knocked upon the mountain and recoiled upon the flat. For Casey, mighty Casey, was advancing to the bat. There was ease in Casey's manner as he stepped into his place. There was pride in Casey's bearing and a smile on Casey's face. And when responding to the cheers, he lightly doffed his hat. No stranger in the crowd could doubt it was Casey, that 10,000 eyes were on him as he rubbed his hands with dirt. 5,000 tongues applauded when he wiped them on his shirt. Then, while the writhing pitcher ground the ball into his hip, defiance gleamed in Casey's eyes. A sneer curled Casey's lip. And now the leather-covered sphere came hurtling through the air. And Casey stood watching in haughty grandeur there. Close by the sturdy batsman, the ball unheeded sped. "Ain't my style," said Casey. "Strike one," the umpire said. From the benches, black with people, there went up a muffled roar like the beating of the storm waves on a stern and distant shore. "Kill him! Kill the umpire!" shouted someone in the sand, and it likely they'd have killed him had not Casey raised his hand. With a smile of Christian charity, great Casey's visage showed. He stilled the rising multitude. He bade the game go on. He signaled to the pitcher, and once more the spheroid flew, but Casey still ignored it. And the umpire said, "Strike two." "Fraud!" cried the maddened thousands, and echo answered, "Fraud!" But one scornful look from Casey in the audience was awed. They saw his face grow stern and cold. They saw his muscles strain, and they knew that Casey wouldn't let the ball go by again. The sneer is gone from Casey's lip. His teeth are clenched in hate. He pounds with cruel violence his bat upon the plate. And now the pitcher holds the ball, and now he lets it go, and now the air is shattered by the force of Casey's blow. Oh, somewhere in this favored land, the sun is shining bright. The band is playing somewhere, and somewhere hearts are light. And somewhere men are laughing, and somewhere children shout. But there is no joy in Mudville. Mighty Casey has struck out.
Now I officially know that it is spring. That is good. That is good. That is a good way to mark the time. Thanks, Dave. So Dave mentioned anniversaries, and there is another anniversary that we need to pay heed to, and that is one that is coming up on April 3rd, the day exactly April 3rd, 1960, and that would be when this particular Sun Prairie Rotary evolved. So that means that it is the 66th anniversary of the Sun Prairie Rotary coming up this week. And Deb et al. Have graciously decided to commemorate said occasion. So you want like cake to make everybody happy. So there is cake and all the accoutrements for cake in the back. So we will pass it out. We will have cake and celebrate. And you can't beat Casey at the Bat, coffee and cake and great company. So congratulations to all of us for 66 years, which is very exciting.
Does anybody know who the founding members were?
I certainly do.
It's Louis
Who's the
Blazer.
founding members?
Wasn't it Louis? Yeah. Gail Chase, maybe? Gail
Yeah.
Chase, Louis Blazer.
And over. This is something we found too, it's our 50-year anniversary plaque that we got from the thing about that around.
I'm just curious.
Very cool.
Was Gail in it? Gail Chase?
Yeah. Awesome.
Louis and Gail.
Very, very cool. Well, with that,
Yeah.
while we are pondering the who, reveling in the very coolness of that, Dan, step for a moment if you could. It's you.
Yes.
I know.
Really, I wasn't prepared for this,
I
but
know.
I will gladly
I
do
do,
it.
I
You're on
do
the
try,
spot.
but you know.
Well, hi. I have a whole lot of other stuff to talk about, but no. I'm not even sure how many years I've been with the club, but it's been a lot. And I've seen a lot. I've made a lot of friends. And I know, for those who don't know, I grew up, I'm a Sun Prairie boy, went to Sun Prairie High School. And after Mayor Esser's comment about saying something that people don't know, I don't know if anyone knows, but I love surveying. Actually, Carol was part of my evolving into being a surveyor. Hard to believe, I was sitting as a junior in high school, and I was one of those that I never saw the guidance counselor once in my life. They contacted me once and said, "What are you gonna do?" And I said, "I'm gonna be a surveyor." And but it evolved. I was sitting in Carol's home ec class as a junior, learning how to make a Reuben, and I was looking out the window out the back side. There was a big hill, and there was a surveying crew out working there, and I saw them working, and I go, "That's what I want to do." And went to MATC for surveying. You know, I've been surveying since the day I walked out of high school. Went to, you know, like I said, Madison Area Surveying Council for or Madison College for surveying is what I went for, and then worked as a in a private firm. Started my own company here in my hometown, and I've been doing it ever since. And I never worked a day in my life, you know, because I love surveying. So you can tell Carol that. I don't know if she ever realized that, but, looking out that class, I said home ec wasn't gonna be it, but, but no, grew up as a farm boy, out in, Bristol, and, love the farm. I have a farm to this day, which is, my second love, and, have a wonderful family, and, you know, I think to keep it short, but that's it. Bottom line, I'm a Sun Prairie boy that loves surveying. Thank you.
You know, we did learn something because now we know that you can make a ribbon. So
Yes.
these are important things to know.
Yeah.
All right. And in the interest of just continuing honoring and celebrating and all kinds of good things, Aaron, if you could come up for a moment.
Sure.
My mailbox, I get notifications when I get mail. And the last 3 weeks I've gotten notices saying you have a package. I'm like, I haven't ordered anything. And 3 weeks in a row, but this week was the package, and this is Aaron for your Paul Harris with some there. So thank you very much. The foundation thanks you, and thank you for your contribution. All good things. So
Thank you, Madam President.
thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Last week I gave copious amounts of dates for all kinds of things, and Rich graciously posted all those for everyone. So I will not reiterate all of them because there are many. However, a couple that are coming up just to keep in mind. The 8th being the West High School Awards Night, and if there's anyone who's interested in partaking in that, if we could speak up, that'd be great. And then the meeting on the 14th. That will be a field trip meeting to the new Sun Prairie Utilities building. I will post information about that as we get closer to that date. And the 14th is also the day of the board meeting. So, and anyone is welcome to attend that. So wanted to make sure I got those dates out at least. All right. And with that, we will move on to Rotary Moments, which I believe there are more than one. So,
well, Hoops for Hope is into its last weekend, and you can see that we have some people doing really well, and we have some people not doing very well, and most of us mediocre. Anyway, please take a look at that. Next week will be the final. We'll know what the final is. We may indeed reach that $800 mark, which would be fantastic for us to do that. And then when we come next week, we're gonna start paying off next week. Remember, if you do write a check, write it to the foundation. There it is.
On the back.
with the cake.
Yeah, definitely cake. She'll take the foundation. She'll take cash as well. You're welcome to round up. If they don't make pennies anymore. They don't take pennies anymore. Okay, that's it. Looking good. We're getting there. We're gonna pass the trophy off. You still have it?
It's in my office.
Okay, so we got it here, ready to be unveiled as if it's the Stanley Cup. More exciting than the Stanley Cup. I'm never gonna get to touch the Stanley Cup.
Right. Oh, you could have. It was here a couple of years ago.
Here, yes. And I
You missed it.
yes. Right, that's all I got for
All right.
Next week, we start seeing celebrate.
Sounds good. Other Rotary Moments. Yeah.
Just a reminder, Monday we're serving Sunshine Supper for those who signed up. Thank you very much. I will send an email out the next couple days. If you just happen to know what's going on, please do 4 to 6 at Sunshine Supper.
Other Rotary Moments.
It's dawned on me that I forgot to introduce our guests today. Amanda was our speaker, and what's her name? Joey, who is a student at Monbora, and they don't have school today. And so instead of sleeping in, she had to go to the mom.
You get cake, you know.
So make sure you stick around at the end for happy hours.
All right, other Rotary Moments.
Just one quick one, Arbor Day celebration, 21st, so right after the club meeting, so we'll go over to Orphan Park and plant 2 trees. It's a lot of hard work, so be ready. The weather, you never know for us, but Arbor Day. So, thank you.
Right. And Dan has notes. So.
This is sad today. I'm sorry. But it's actually great, but we just got so much going on. Last week, Tuesday, this is a whole 2 weeks in review, is that last Tuesday, John and I bugged out of here because we had concrete being poured. And so that was the first half of the wall being poured. And so that got done. The next following day, the second half of the wall got poured. And that all went wonderful. The weather has been phenomenal. It's nice and dry out there. Thursday, the forms got taken off, so we got to actually see the real wall, and it's there. It's pretty amazing. Let's see. On also that Thursday morning, I met with the mason, and we figured out the kind of rocks that we're going to need, and that's one of the things I'm hoping maybe Saturday morning that at 7 o'clock, that if the weather's behaving and we get all the stuff done that we have to, we may have a get together of gathering rocks to get it in there. Rocks that are anywhere from volleyball size to softball size is what we're looking. So they're not huge rocks, but they're still rocks, you know, and hopefully I'll get my tractor there and we'll throw them in the bucket and try to get them down to the site so the mason can just grab them and put them on the walls. Let's see. Friday we had a long meeting. Deb always is running it, but so we were talking about our placards and our final versions that are going to blast crafters. They're the ones that are making the granite. So we're working with that. My sister Joyce, who's been phenomenal on trying to make this all happen, as far as proofing it and helping doing some of the letting people know what we're actually doing is really what she's working on. Let's see. That was Friday. Also, John Belkin is actually making a time capsule. We're going to make a time capsule that we're going to put in it. And I'd like to volunteer if someone would like to help us gather that, but it's going to happen real quick in the next couple of weeks. And I visualize in the capsule, we can put anything. If you've got something personal you'd like to put in, like a picture of your family with dates and whatever in an envelope, we can throw it in there. Maybe from the Big Sun Prairie, we can get rolls of this year's coins that we can put in there, something like that. You know, anything. I'm going to throw it out. Be creative. It's a pretty big tube is what we're going to have, and we can just stuff it full of stuff. And if I'd like our roster for the Rotary Club to be in there, and ideally if we had pictures to go with it, but it would be just visualize that who knows when this will ever be opened again and what they'll find, and to be able to have something that you can pull out and relate to your family or to the city or what's our current events or, you know, the newspaper, or, you know, trillions of thoughts, you know, on that. So John's building it, but it's going to happen quick. And it's going to be all contingent on when are we covering it up. And so that's where I visualize we got about a month, you know, probably to make it happen. But you know, that's what we could use somebody to help volunteer on that front. Let's see, more of my notes. As I was driving this morning, I'm writing notes. So,
With one eye on
You're not.
but what we got,
where we at?
yes, in the parking lot. No. But what we got coming up is, that's where I'm saying, if anyone can help me, I'm looking at getting going early Saturday morning. I could just use a list of somebody that's volunteering to come join us. Then we're thinking 7 o'clock, try to get done, you know, by 9, 10 o'clock at the latest. And just to get everybody, because it is Easter weekend and, you know, everybody's got plans. But that's where, so if you can come to me, give me names and numbers, that way, if it's all weather related right now, Because one of the things we got going on too is now the Rex, this week on Wednesday, Thursday, we've got they're gonna come in and regrade around it, push the dirt back in against the wall, get it shaped for our platform, get gravel down on it. And where the gravel goes, that's where we're gonna be putting our rocks for the masons, so they can just grab it. We have a platform that they can just grab these rocks and start putting them on the wall. Yesterday, John and I, we had two things we were doing out there. We were laying out the placards, how they would kind of go preliminarily. We'll be going out after this to go look at it again. Debbie, Joyce, myself to actually look at it. Again, if somebody else would like to come out, please do. It's in come see, it's nice and dry right now. So very easily, it's beautiful out there. Everybody comes out and just is amazed at the look of what we got and what we're doing. Yesterday also, we were meeting with the railing fabricator. So we were working on the design of the railing. Cindy with the Park and Rec was out there approving what we were doing. And so this railing will get built to the size of the wall and actually get pulled, brought out there in shape and dropped right on it. So that's what we were measuring, the exact size of the wall. Kind of like your kitchen cabinets, you know, if once they can't put the countertop on until the cabinet is there, and it's the same with the wall for the railing. So that's what we're working on there. So just a couple other things, so hopefully if we can get the rocks there, the mason will be there starting Monday, and away we go. I'm sure I forgot several things, but Deb, you got anything?
Oh, I think covered it well, thank you.
Fundraising is something that we talked about on Friday, and so that any thoughts on that, Deb? I know we're kind of realistic. We're getting bills now. Cement has been poured. It's, you know, so we're looking at real things now. So now Phil will be keeping us abreast on money's in and money's out and where we're gonna be. So also, from the groundbreaking, I don't have a good picture of the group. Do we have one that came from anyone? If anyone was there and took a good picture.
There's one on Facebook.
Yeah, there's a good one on Facebook.
Okay, I haven't seen it. So, okay. Yeah, I'm looking for one anyway, because people are asking me for it and I don't have one. So, that's it. So,
You say 7 a.m. Saturday morning.
yeah, that's what we're gonna get going early. And the nice thing, last Friday, they burnt the prairie out there. So you really can see it now. And the rock pile just became 3 times bigger than what it was. And that's phenomenal. So, and I told Cindy, I go, wow, I'm seeing rocks all over out here. She goes, go get them. You know? Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Dan.
Yeah, thanks, Dan.
Good information. Any other Rotary moments from anyone?
Very quick, for Arbor Day nomination, honorees, please get them in.
Right. Okay. Well, then it is up to our speaker, and it is my honor to introduce our speaker for today, who came through for us, and we were close to not having one, but now we do, and that is amazing. So thank you to Amanda. So Amanda Braverman-Brohn is our speaker for today. She's a former educator and school administrator who now serves our community through advocacy, service, and leadership. She is a Wisconsin ambassador for Count the Kicks, helping educate families on stillbirth prevention and maternal health. For 10 seasons, Amanda has coached Girls on the Run, empowering young girls to build confidence, resilience, and recognize their own star power. She also proudly supports the arts in her community. And as the United States of America's Ms. Dane County, very cool, Amanda's mission is to empower women, inspire confidence, uplift everyone, proving that service, education, and heart make a difference right here at home. So welcome, Amanda. Thank you so much.
Unfortunately,
Oh, that is lacking.
Okay.
So you'll have to do those.
okay, that's fine. Thank you so much, and thank you for letting me be here. I know that I was looking for opportunity to speak, and I thought, oh, I'll see what Sun Prairie has going on, and there was still a blank spot for today. So I messaged, I don't even know what day it was, Sunday night maybe. I said, I see that you don't have a speaker. If that's accurate, I can be there bright and early, so thank you. Unfortunately, I didn't prepare a poem, but I will try to keep you engaged despite that. Thanks again for letting me be here. As Jen said, I am an advocate for stillbirth awareness and maternal health in our community, and that's what I came to talk to you about today. Before I begin, I just also want to acknowledge that if I don't do my slides, you tell me. Just acknowledge that this can be a difficult topic, and so if you need to dismiss yourself or something, please know that I encourage you to take care of yourself and return when you're able. I've been introduced, so we'll continue. Well, actually, so I am the mother of Preston. His photo is over here. I think the online people probably can't see it, but you'll see it later. I am also the mother of 4 other kids, Aiden, Ben, Tate, and Joey. They go to school in Mount Horeb. And then, like she said, I'm very involved in the community there. So I'm going to start with a little bit. Can you guys see that? Okay, or is it? Yes. Oh, there we go. Okay. Well, good, because I'm going to ask you to read some of these facts. I used to be an educator and a school principal, and so I'm not used to being the one talking. I like it when the students talk, and today you guys get to be in my classroom. So I'll take the first information there. So stillbirth is defined as the loss of a baby at or after 20 weeks of pregnancy. So that's the topic that we're going to be talking about today. That first fact there, would anybody volunteer to read that? First one? Go ahead.
20,000 plus stillbirths on average annually.
In the United States, 20,000 babies are lost on average annually. That's a significant number. Next fact. Yeah, go ahead.
Nearly 60 babies every single day.
That 20,000 turns into 60 babies every single day. That's about 1 baby every 26 minutes that's lost to stillbirth. This one's always hard because it's written weird, so I'll read this one. So there are more stillbirths than the top 5 causes of child death combined. So the top 5 combined are still less than the number of stillbirths. The good news is that research shows that 1 in 4 deaths are preventable, and this study was done in Norway. We know that in European countries, they tend to do more with maternal health than we do in America. And so we were able to find a study in Norway that showed that 1 in 4 deaths may be preventable. One proven solution. Jen, how long do I have? I need to know how long. Yeah, okay. One proven solution that we have is called Count the Kicks, and it's saving 1 in 3 at-risk babies in the state of Iowa. I used to live in Iowa, and this was founded in Iowa. And so I have volunteered to support the organization since then. And so they're saving 1 in 3. That's even more than the 1 in 4 that could be saved. So Iowa is saving 1 in 3. In our state of Wisconsin, we lose 323 babies on average to stillbirth. But the good news is that if we implemented Count the Kicks the way that Iowa did, we could save over 100 every year. Show you that. Okay, so what Count the Kicks does is it talks about tracking fetal movement in the 3rd trimester. And the reason that fetal movement is important to track is because it is sometimes the only change that we have that signifies that there could be distress for mom and baby. It's all the first and sometimes the only. When we don't feel well, what do? Rest. We rest. We lay down, we stay in bed. That's what your baby does too when it doesn't feel well. And so even in utero, changes in movement signify that something's not right. And so then if we aren't well, we have the ability to see a provider if we need to. And that baby's voice is their movement. That's the only way they have to communicate it. And so that's why we're really asking moms to track that fetal movement. This is my son, Preston. The reason that I am passionate about this is that my son was saved when I noticed a change in his fetal movement. He had had a stroke in utero. I was about 37 weeks along, and I noticed a significant decrease. Cat the Kicks wasn't around at that time, so I knew that something was different, but I didn't have the vocabulary, I didn't have the words to put to it. And so I am fortunate that I trusted my instincts. I went to the hospital and they were able to determine that he was in significant distress. He was born within 30 minutes of my arrival there. So when you talk about emergency C-sections, that was a really fast kind, where they're like still asking me, like, can you feel your toes? And just really waiting for that, for everything to go numb because they were in a really big hurry. The reason that I decided to start, I'm lucky. And the reason that I decided to start advocating for this campaign is that I don't think that we should have to be lucky to be in America and save our baby's life. We have information and we have knowledge that we can educate and empower people to be able to speak up if they notice a change. And so that has really been the motivation behind my volunteer work for almost 2 decades. Preston just turned 18 in February. He's a senior in Mount Horeb. He'll be graduating this spring. I'm not going to show this just for the sake of time. What we do is we have created an app. We also have bracelets that you can track numbers on, and we have paper tracking charts just so that we have access for people that maybe don't have a smartphone or data. But it's as simple as the same time every day in the 3rd trimester, tracking fetal movement to see how much time does it take on average to get to 10 kicks. So the old data or old story that we were told is you want 10 kicks in 2 hours. But we know that even for us, we have friends who get up bright and early and they've gone and run their 5K every morning, right? And they're just super active. And then we have other people who maybe aren't quite as active. And babies are the same as us when we grow up. Some babies are very active and they remain that way. Some just aren't, and that's okay. The reason that this is helpful is that it helps to track what every individual baby's normal is instead of saying 10 kicks in 2 hours, because that might not be the normal for a baby. And so we lose opportunity to know, if there's a change for them. So on the app, it's just, you open the app and it's free. You can all download it now because it's not just something that I think is important for a pregnant woman to know. Just like we all know about bike safety and we're not currently riding a bike, right? We all know how to perform the Heimlich. Even though we rarely need to know that information, we still all know it. And that's how I feel about Count the Kicks, is that it's information that we can all know, that we can all have, so that we can share it and save lives along the way. We have at the moment, I'll talk about Ask On It. So within our app, we have some other resources that I think are just so valuable. We learned that parents don't just have questions about fetal movement when they're using our app. They had questions about resources as well. So we've actually on our website created a tab where if you just put in your zip code, you're able to see what resources might be available, whether that's food resources, maybe housing resources, transportation if you need help getting to your appointments, clothing, things like that. Then we also created a feature called Ask Anna. Anna is an AI assistant. She does not provide medical advice, but she does provide research-based answers to questions about fetal movement so that people aren't looking up answers on Reddit or on Google and finding, sources that might not be reliable. So Ask Anna is a reliable source to answer their questions. For a while in Wisconsin, we were funded by the Department of Health and also then by Anthem. Funding changes. Right now, we're actually in the process of, and I'll send you this information later to be able to share. We're in the process right now of having a letter signed to encourage funding for HRSA so that Title V funding in each state could help to support getting information to each state through health departments. Right now, you have me. One and only Amanda is trying to reach at least 60,000 families in the state of Wisconsin who are going to have a baby this year in an effort to save as many of those babies as I can. And that's where, so I was saying that we were funded before. We have all of these resources that are amazing that can go into providers at medical offices, anybody who, doulas or home providers, like home birth providers. There is just so much information that we have available that right now I pay for and take to clinics. And so it's getting to be a lot for me. And so that's where I thought, okay, there are people in the community that are able to help out. And so I come here today asking for ideas and for support so that we can get this information into the hands of the people that really need it. Stillbirth is a public health crisis, but it's just not talked about very much because it's uncomfortable. Just like when we discovered AIDS and that it was preventable, people were uncomfortable talking about it, but we did it anyways. And now we're in a much better place than we were in the 80s and 90s. And that's my hope here, is that with this information, we have other health campaigns that have come out, like Back to Sleep. Does anybody remember what the Back to Sleep campaign was? Yes, what was it?
Wasn't it not maybe on their back?
Put the baby on their back to sleep. And that was in an effort to prevent SIDS, which was when the baby passed away in their sleep and people didn't know why. And the thought was that if they rolled over or they were on their stomach, they were sometimes suffocating. And so the Back to Sleep campaign has saved many, many lives. More babies are dying of stillbirth than die of SIDS. And I'm not saying that to discount or, the efforts or to say it's less important, but I'm just saying that we could be saving more lives. And this is already out there. We just need help getting it into the hands of the people who have the power to make changes and to educate those families. I have some folders up here with our material that you saw on the previous screen, so that if you are interested or you know somebody who might benefit from having that information, or somebody who you think I should come talk to, you can take one of those folders, and I have business cards also that you can use. So we do have, Healthy Birthday is our founding nonprofit organization, and they founded Count the Kicks, which is also the nonprofit organization. And I've been doing this work for 18 years. So like I said, I come asking for help. I have been doing this for a long time, and I'm trying to reach as many people as I can. In our state here, I lived in Iowa, and that since they've implemented this, they've seen a 32% reduction in stillbirth. They're the only state that has seen a 32% reduction in stillbirth. So that's significant and impactful when we think about all the other states that could have been doing this, and only one state did something different, and only one state saw that decline in stillbirth. Ohio implemented Count the Kicks statewide, I think in 2018, 16 or 18. And in that amount of time, they've seen about a 15% reduction. So again, showing that this is actually working. The good and the bad news is that when Wisconsin, when we had that partnership, we actually started to see a reduction. It was between 7 and 8% just in 2 years. But that partnership has ended. And so it's back to Amanda trying to do this work by herself. And I just can't do it alone. So one of the things that the other Rotary clubs have done, Mount Horeb has encouraged me to apply for a grant. I don't know if you guys have grants at your Rotary club, but helps to fund the efforts that I can get out into more communities and do this work, because I can't afford to do it all by myself. Other ideas that I've had are just getting information into newspapers. If you have connections to local newspapers or radio stations or news stations, I would love help getting connected. I think that when I send an email to somebody that says, I have really great information, it can save lives, and then they see stillbirth and then they delete it because people don't want to talk about it. But it makes me so sad because babies are dying when they don't have to be. Families are grieving when they don't have to be. And we have the ability to make the change right now. We just aren't talking about it. So other ideas that you have too, I'm welcome to. I will do anything. I just need to know what direction to go or where to go. But so that's really, if you have questions, I'd love to be able to answer your questions. But what I would really appreciate is help and resources, just with guidance there. Yeah, I saw your hand first.
Oh, I have a question. So my baby now is 20, almost 3 on April 3rd. So I had that same concern. So my son, I swore, he swung from my ribs, so I never had, and she never moved, and it really concerned me. So they did like a glucose challenge. Do they still do that? They had me drink orange juice, and then she started like kicking.
Right. So
and by the way, she's still the one that.
Yes. So they do a glucose challenge. That is usually for gestational diabetes, but they do still. Some providers are still saying things like drink a glass of cold water in hopes that they baby feels it and gets cold and moves, or something sugary, so that when your blood sugar increases, it encourages theirs to increase as well, and then they get jittery and move. But that's still not helpful. We don't want to fake a baby's movements.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the, they also do a test where if you go in, they will put like a device on your stomach that causes like a quick hard vibration that if the baby is okay, like it will startle the baby. And I had that experience where, because Preston was not okay, he did not respond to any of those changes. And so that's how they knew there was something really concerning going on. So going for a walk, drinking cold water, drinking something with sugar are sort of like the old wives' tales about how to get your baby to move, and it's not helpful to force it. And so that's why tracking regularly in the third trimester is what we're encouraging. There were also concerns about like, oh, moms are going to be so nervous. It's actually, when we did the research, it actually showed a reduction in anxiety because moms knew. They knew their baby. They knew what was normal. And the app has the ability, like when there's a data point that's outside of the range of normal, it tells them. And so they don't have to be concerned because they have the data in front of them that's giving them peace of mind and letting them know when to be concerned. Question over here.
Yeah, I was just curious. I didn't go to a lot of doctor's visits with my wife when we had our children. But why is it not a protocol for providers to have this as a recommendation?
Love you to continue asking our providers that question. That's what we're saying, is that this, and what's really helpful is that this is done in other countries, just not in America. So when we look, don't quote me on this statistic because I'm going by memory. Out of, I believe that we are one of 195 established countries in the world. So when we compare, not comparing to like a third world country with fewer resources, when we compare ourselves only to established, economically able countries in stillbirth, we rank like 187th, but we're first in the world for economy and military and all these other wonderful, impressive things. But we're almost at the bottom for the stillbirth and maternal health in America. There are some states in America whose data is as low as our third world countries. And that's just rural states, especially even rural parts of Wisconsin. Other concerning facts are the discrepancy between Black stillbirths and white stillbirths is startling. Black women are losing their babies far more often than white women are losing their babies. And it shouldn't be that way. And so that's where like it just becomes so obvious. And once you hear it, you're like, wow, why isn't everybody doing this? Because they haven't heard about it yet. We've been around I've been doing this for 18 years. I think they established, nonprofit status shortly after I started volunteering. But when we started, we were like Las Vegas style, handing out flyers on street corners, just trying to tell people about it. We would go to like maternity. They used to do these like maternity, like baby showers where you could go and meet people or lactation consultants or breast pumps. And they would just have all of this stuff. And so we would go there, and we're just getting less patient now. And it's becoming more urgent because it's not changing, except in the states that are doing something about it. And even in Wisconsin, we had a couple of years between 2022 and 24 where we did see a decrease of, I think it's between 7 and 8%. And so we were working on it. We were on our way. And then that paused. And so I love every provider to give this out. That's actually one of the things that funding helps to do. So should enough grants come in and funding be available, what I would make my goal is to go to providers and clinics and hospitals and ask for systemic change, not just like each provider learning it, but just putting it on every pregnant person's discharge notes. When you get your paper printed at the end, if they go in to be seen for a concern, then it would be just a part of their systems change. It would always be on there. So that is a lot easier than me reaching 60,000 individuals. It means that I reach those clinics and those providers and encourage systemic change so that the change happens once and everybody gets the information. That's what would be ideal.
Plus, it doesn't cost them anything.
It doesn't cost them anything. Just do it. Right now, the cost is a lot because it's not just the cost of one visit to tell you that you've lost your baby. It's the cost of all of the medical visits after that. It's the cost of emotional cost of grief and tragedy to those families and their extended families. It's the loss of income for mothers who do not get maternity leave if they lose their baby. If they need time, they don't get that maternity leave pay. And so the cost, and also people who have stillbirth, experience stillbirth, are more likely to also die. So we're not just talking about fetal mortality, we're also talking about maternal mortality. And that's why when I discovered the Rotary Club's mission includes child and maternal health, I thought, well, these are my people. And so, yeah, it's just, like I said, it's just something that's very obvious now that we'd like to get out there. Yes.
When a woman has encountered a stillbirth, are they more likely to have subsequent stillbirth?
So it probably depends on the reason for stillbirth. So like the data said, about 1 in 4 are preventable. There are other reasons for stillbirth that maybe tracking fetal movement doesn't prevent. So even though stillbirth is defined as a loss after 20 weeks of pregnancy, a baby isn't really viable yet until, I mean, it's getting earlier because of advancements in medicine. A baby didn't used to be viable until 30 weeks or 35 weeks, but now we're down to like 26 weeks, 25 weeks, 24 weeks. So there is a little bit of time. Stillbirth might occur for other reasons that we wouldn't be able to save. But if one in 4, or even the 1 in 3 that Iowa and Ohio are saving, we save, that's still, I keep saying significant and impactful, but I just don't know what other words there are to explain that. Yes.
I have a niece who had a stroke in vitro and subsequently after a heart attack. In Wisconsin, been pretty helpful, but her quality of life is pretty weak.
Right.
Do we have any data, and this is not to in any way diminish that we shouldn't do it, but do we have any data on the general health outcomes of?
So I'm not a medical provider. I'm just a parent who's experienced it, saving her son. And I think that probably my assumption, again, don't quote me, my assumption is that the earlier the intervention, the better the outcome. And so the earlier that decrease is noticed, the earlier medical care can be received to determine that. I actually noticed changes before the very significant change that made me go to the emergency room. And I can tell you from personal experience that my doctors told me to lay on my left side, drink cold water, go for a walk, have some apple juice. And that went on. And so there was distress occurring sooner. But when I would go to appointments, they would say, is your baby moving okay? I mean, he's moving. So I didn't have what's okay and what's not. I didn't have a way to quantify or qualify what okay meant. So to answer that question, my guess is that earlier intervention is going to help improve results after birth as well. And I keep saying lucky because it's only by luck that Preston is alive and somehow has very few to no residual effects of the stroke. He was in the NICU for about a week. But most babies that have a stroke in utero have cerebral palsy, they have significant learning disabilities. And when I went in, he was so close to being gone that they said, which do you want to do? Like they gave me the choice of wait it out and let your body deliver when it delivers, or we can try to save him. And I said, please try to save him. So they were able to resuscitate. They had to do CPR. They were able to resuscitate him in the operating room when he was born. Yeah. Yes.
What about reaching out to pediatricians? Is that
so? We reach out to everybody. Pediatricians are great places too because they probably see parents who are coming in expecting another baby. But obviously, if we can get ahead of that and get to OBs or rural providers that are general family practice providers that also serve obstetrics, that would be more
I
ideal.
was thinking they could influence, if they see children that are, that
Sure.
have
Yeah.
effects of this, they might be advocates too.
Yes.
This is more of a comment, so I'll talk to you afterwards, but, the lacrosse clubs, they actually have a really good with their, medical,
Okay.
areas up in lacrosse.
Yes. Okay.
They actually do, one of the Rotary projects that they do, and it's been ongoing for many, many years, it's called the Brain Game. So it's how to take your baby from zero, one step
Oh, sure.
forward,
Like,
cognitive,
Yep,
right? How you develop them, and they actually give these little booklets, which are very informational, out to women
Yeah.
who are going to have a baby.
yeah.
So they might be a really good audience.
Yes. It's like a birth to 3 kind of a program. I know Iowa had birth to 3.
Birth to 3, it's called the Brain Game.
Okay, the
It's
Brain
all
Game.
about developing the baby
Yeah.
cognitively.
Okay.
But
But if they're getting that ahead of time, then this is.
right, and it's established up there.
Yes.
And
Yes.
they've got it established, I think, in other areas.
Okay.
So I'm gonna connect you.
I would love that. So this is why I'm here.
Somebody
Yeah. Perfect.
Because I think they've already got well-established connections in the medical community.
Yeah. Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very
Thank you
much.
so much.
All right. Okay, with that, it's back to Dave, some happy hours.
Finish your cake, take out your money. Okay, two things can go together. All right, happy hours, looking for happy hours for today. It's the last day of March. We are 1/4 of the way through the year. Okay.
I got two. So if you joined Sun Prairie Rotary in the last 16 years, you might not know what our 50th anniversary project was. But we built the shelter at Orphan Park. And we didn't know what we were doing, but we had some good, Park and Rec people. I remember Dick Wright and I up on the roof learning how to put cedar shapes on that roof when I was much younger. But that's our project, was our 50th project. I just thought about that when that thing went through. So it's a good memory, let's say. So just got back from Phoenix and was very, very hot. They had 100-degree temperatures pretty much the whole week, which is like 6 weeks ahead of time. But we went and watched the Brewer Prospects play. It was 109. And no, it was, yeah, they won 7-2 over the Mariner Prospects. And the reason we went is that there's a young man from Sun Prairie, played at East, named Josh Caron, who was drafted by Seattle Mariners, and he was playing. So we wanted to see Josh play, and that was fun. And in Josh's opinion, the Brewer Prospects are very good. He expects at least 3 of them to be called up. And then I got back, and Cuero has already been called back. I saw Cuero play in the Prospects down in Arizona, and he's up with the big guys now already. So it was fun to see Josh, fun to see Brewer Prospects play.
Who's he playing for this?
Seattle, he plays for the Mariners Prospects. Yeah. I don't know. He lives out in, it's in Washington. I can't remember the name.
Out of the nuts. Okay, here we go.
I got 5. One, thank you for coming and speaking. It's very informative. I really appreciate that. And then the second one is just a sports dollar. We've got the men going to the Final Four in conflict. The women men NCAA championships, which would be really cool. The Brewers are doing great. And I still have 3 teams left in the tournament, and like that's unheard of. I always suck at them really bad. So so I shouldn't say that, but I was just like, oh my gosh. And then my other dollar is spring break is the university. So after this, it only has like 6 weeks of school left and then she graduates. Now she's worried about what she's gonna do. I go biochemistry, you know, you'll figure it out. But we're having fun at this point, so that's what I'm excited about. And then, I'm really excited for the project and heading out to see where we're at and just, all the projects we've made in the last, 2 weeks here, so, and then we just love the weather.
So here. Maddie, everyone. Sorry for stand up.
Oh, so something I'm happy about is spring break. My oldest was just last week. You guys home. Extra bonus for me is that he obviously helped in working with the other kids. So I get to see him still driving. It's nice. It's easy to like still easy to that no driving because with other kids. So that's cool.
You feeling it?
And I get she didn't see yesterday too. So that's
Here. Here. Yeah, Missed the knife. No, none here. Oh, yeah.
I always,
No, just depend on Ron. Ron's always good for a buck.
For the Silver's program and for artificial intelligence, so if we joke again or alarm this week, I just had an alarm at the business because the cat was calling around during the night.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Can you put me down for a happy number? Otherwise, all I have is a 20 and Dave will get mad at me.
It
I just want to thank you for coming. I did have that concern, like I mentioned about my daughter. Her baby's different, and my other baby was so active, I was worried. So I appreciate that. I have a friend who's a retired midwife, but I'll pass that on to her. She's a go-getter and she knows a lot of people. Thank you.
All right. We're just gonna put you in charge. Okay. Okay, Aaron will help you out.
Yep, I'll do a virtual dollar rich. You may have heard that the city is having a referendum. So I know news to all of you. So, but we held our 7th and final town hall meeting last night. And so for those that are looking for more information about it, it's out there. But we had a successful town hall meeting last night. And as I mentioned, we had posted 7 of them. So hopefully everybody has the information that they need. And so we're kind of wrapping up our process here, but people are already voting and April 7th is right around the corner. Okay, thank you.
Happy dollar. Last Wednesday, the last concrete was poured on the wall. John and I were sitting there on the tailgate of the concrete workers truck, and we just looked at each other and said, "It's time for a beer." You know, it just was like this big weight just went just off our shoulders. My other happy dollar is thank you, speaker, for coming. I have a little story. I grew up on our family farm up here in Bristol. And we had our own personal little cemetery from the original settlers that were there. And one of the things that drove home from when I was this big, crawling through that cemetery, is that the number of babies that were died, you know, in the settlement years, the cemetery was just packed full of them. A lot of times they weren't even named. You know, it was really sad. We had one of our original people that lived on our farm that had 3 wives. And the word was that he lost them all during childbirth. You know, so I mean, where we've come from, how harsh it was. I mean, that's what, to me, this hit home. You know, because from little on, I learned how fragile, you know, childbirthing is. And, you know, the impacts of those original settlers, it was crazy. You know, just to imagine having somebody lose 3 wives.
Couple there. Thank you very much. I'm glad you reached out, and I'm amazed that this is not, it does seem very obvious that we should be out. So thank you for sharing that with all of us. And then the second is I head out tomorrow night on the train. Everything's okay. Overnight to go to Ithaca to see my daughter and her family. So I'm very excited about that. So we'll have some reports on that. So, all right, up to the raffle. And then you just get to be all kinds of things. Where's everything coming on? Three digits. 773.
Oh, those aren't correct.
Yeah.
773. 773. Anyone? Dave, did you look at your note?
Not me.
I got it. No, fully don't. It's gotta be Ron.
Oh, which is, Dan got it. Dan must have it, so right before me.
So who paid you from the last before?
Oh, that's me.
But they were taking his pocket.
It's down here. Wow. I do have I probably worked in the speaker. I have some bulbs for you.
Well,
So.
Yeah.
Lovely color
These are
there.
winners.
All right, skip that for the others. Okay. So last but not least today for the Rotary 101, the first official Rotary flag reportedly was flown in Kansas City in January of 1915. In 1922, a small Rotary flag was carried over the South Pole by Admiral Byrd. And 4 years later, the Admiral carried a Rotary flag to his expedition to the North Pole. Cool. So there you go. Little Rotary facts there. Thank you to everyone and have a great day.
Here.
Yeah.